Hello everyone, Jonathan Schlack, EAS&Weather here with a severe weather update for the Day 2 outlook, which is tomorrow. I'm going to start off with the Northeast because we now have the Storm Prediction Center has added an enhanced risk area, a small area, but still an enhanced risk nevertheless, for parts of far east central New York State, northwestern Massachusetts, the southern half of Vermont, and much of central and southwestern New Hampshire. That's where we now have an enhanced risk for severe weather tomorrow. And we now have a slight risk tomorrow that covers much of New York State, which includes parts of the New York State area. It includes most of Connecticut, except the southeastern part of Connecticut. It also includes central and southwestern Massachusetts, northern Vermont, southeastern and northern New Hampshire, southwestern Maine, northwestern and western New Jersey, or northern and northwestern New Jersey, I should say. Pretty much most of Pennsylvania, which includes my area, northern Delaware, Washington, D.C., much of the northern half of Maryland, the very far extreme north central edge of Virginia, going into northern West Virginia, southeastern Ohio, and far northeastern Kentucky. That's where we have a slight for tomorrow, and we have a marginal that covers central Maine, southeastern Massachusetts, all of Rhode Island, southeastern Connecticut, Long Island, most of Long Island I should say, northwestern New York State, southeastern New Jersey, southern half of Delaware, southern half of Maryland, much of the northern half of Virginia, much of West Virginia, parts of Ohio, extreme northwestern Pennsylvania, going into southeastern Indiana, and I said parts of Ohio, right? I think I did, but anyway, also, all of Kentucky, far south central Illinois, most of Tennessee, well, central and western thirds of Tennessee, far northern Mississippi, southeastern Missouri, and northeastern Arkansas. That's where we have the marginal. We have a marginal tomorrow that covers far east central Colorado, northwestern Kansas, and south central Nebraska. We have another marginal tomorrow that covers northeastern Montana and northwestern North Dakota. So, going over to each risk, starting off with the tornado risk tomorrow, which is pretty much across the Northeast. We have a 10% chance of an isolated tornado tomorrow that covers far northwestern Massachusetts, far east central New York, southern half of Vermont, and central and southwestern New Hampshire. And we have a 5% chance of an isolated tornado that covers northeastern New York State, east central New York State, northwestern Connecticut, well, far northwestern Connecticut, I should say, much of the western half of Massachusetts, northern Vermont, northern and southeastern New Hampshire, and southwestern Maine, for the 5% chance of an isolated tornado tomorrow. And we have a 2% chance of an isolated tornado tomorrow that covers parts of central and south central Maine, parts of central Massachusetts, western half of Connecticut, most of New York State, including New York City, northern New Jersey, pretty much all of Pennsylvania, the very far northern edge of Delaware, north central West Virginia, and east central Ohio. So, going over to the wind aspect of things for tomorrow, we have a 30% chance of damaging wind gusts of 58 miles per hour. Oops, sorry, don't know, I just updated on me. We have a 30% chance of damaging wind gusts of 58 miles per hour or higher in east central New York State, far east central New York State, I should say, northwestern Massachusetts, southern half of Vermont, central and southwest New Hampshire as well. We have a 15% chance of damaging wind gusts of 58 miles per hour or higher in southwestern Maine, northern and southeastern New Hampshire, northern Vermont, central and southwestern Massachusetts, much of central and western Connecticut. I mentioned New York State, right? All of New York State, pretty much, which includes New York City, northern and western New Jersey, pretty much most of Pennsylvania, south is the northwestern part, northern Delaware, much of the northern half of Maryland, Washington, D.C., the far northern edge of Virginia, I should say, as well, northern West Virginia, going back here into southeastern Ohio, and far northeastern Kentucky. Far northeastern Kentucky, so And we also have a 5% chance of damaging wind gusts tomorrow, 58 miles per hour higher, in central Maine, southeastern Massachusetts, all of Rhode Island, southeastern Connecticut, much of Long Island, southeastern New Jersey, southern half of Delaware, southern half of Maryland, northwestern New York State, far northwestern Pennsylvania. And I mentioned southern half of Maryland, right? Yeah, I did. And northern half of Virginia, pretty much of West Virginia, parts of Ohio. Going back here into pretty much all of Kentucky, far southeastern Indiana. Well, I shouldn't say far southeastern, I should say southeastern Indiana. The central and western thirds of Tennessee, far southeastern Illinois, southeastern Missouri, far northern Mississippi, and northeastern Arkansas. So, going back here, we have a 5% chance of damaging wind gusts of 58 miles per hour higher in far east central Colorado, northwestern Kansas, and south central Nebraska. And we have a 5% chance of damaging wind gusts of 58 miles per hour higher in northeastern Montana and northwestern Colorado. Going over to the hail probabilities, we have a 5% chance of hail of 1 inch in diameter or larger in southwestern Maine, all of New Hampshire, all of Vermont, western half of Massachusetts, northwestern Connecticut, much of New York State. It does not include New York City or Long Island or northwestern New York. It does include northwestern New Jersey, northern and western Pennsylvania, northwestern West Virginia, eastern Ohio, and far northeastern Kentucky. So, and we have a 5% chance of hail 1 inch in diameter or larger in northeastern Montana and northwestern North Dakota. So the summary indicates scattered damaging winds and a few tornadoes are likely across parts of the Northeast tomorrow, mainly during Sunday afternoon, which is tomorrow afternoon. So anyway, tomorrow is going to be a severe day across the Northeast United States. So that's the main focus for tomorrow. So in the affected areas for today and tomorrow, which I'll show you the day one outlook real quick. This is day one outlook, but I'm not going to talk about this because I talked about it in the previous video. So if you want to see an explanation of the day one outlook, check out the previous video. But stay tuned to the affected areas both today and tomorrow for monitor forecasts for later statements and warnings in the affected areas both today and tomorrow. So pay attention for later statements and warnings, and I will have another update tomorrow. So stay tuned and be weather aware today and tomorrow. I will have another update tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Stay safe today and tomorrow. Take care.